Hello, this is Coach Stanley with the first in the series of theoretical draws. Generally, in chess, when one has an advantage, usually a deciding advantage, the game ends as expected in a win. But there are some material advantages which cannot convert to a win, and these are generally classified as theoretical draws. And for a start, I would like to look at the skill that involves drawing a game where one side has a bishop and a pawn, which ordinarily can convert to a win. The point is, if the pawn is between the B and the H and the G files, it usually wins. But if the pawn is an A pawn or H pawn, which is a rook pawn, and the supporting bishop is of opposite color to the promoting square, then the story is quite different. Starting with the position that we have in front of me, this is a clear win because the pawn is not a rook pawn, and the game would ordinarily proceed um, as follows. Say the king advances, and then the black king will try to resist and use opposition or block the pawn. There we are, the pawn advances, and then the black king retreats with opposition. The bishop comes in, and now the white pawn keeps advancing. But as the black king tries to block the pawn, the bishop will come to assist by checking the king out of that square, and incidentally in this position it would even be checkmate. In this next position, we have an A pawn, which depending on the kind of bishop that is supporting it, it can either win or draw. But in this case, we see that the promoting square, this one where the black king is sitting, is a white square, and this is a white bishop, meaning a bishop that moves in the white diagonals. So it will eventually be able to drive the enemy king out of that square, and white is going to win. The game, once again, would proceed something like that. The white king starts preparing to escort the pawn, while the black king tries to block it and use opposition against the fellow king. The white king keeps advancing, the bishop checks, the pawn advances, and now, because this square is already controlled, the black king, sorry, just has to march away, and the pawn will promote, thereby giving a win to white. And now, finally, the point of this skill of theoretical draws, when one side has a pawn and a bishop. The key thing is that this bishop is a dark squared bishop, and the promoting square for this pawn is a light square. So if the defending king is able to get to that square first, then it can just play among those four squares, and it will not be easy for the attacking side to drive it out of the promoting square without causing stalemate. And that said, the game would proceed once again something like that. The king starts marching forward to escort the pawn. The black king will use opposition and try to block the pawn. The black king goes to the promoting square and just moves around it. After that check, the king still needs to go to the promoting square. Even after the pawn check, it has to guard the promoting square. And now, if that this square is taken by the white king, then the game just has to draw. There's no way this pawn is going to reach the a8 square and promote. That ends the first in the series of our theoretically drawn positions. Thank you.